Hello and welcome to Empowered to Thrive. I'm your host, Corrine Powell, and this week's episode is coming to you from my living room. I have my wonderful babysitter with two of my children, and my other two older children are at sleepaway camp, and it's my 4 hour window today to get whatever I choose to get done. So I did some mowing and I love to mow my lawn. I love to go barefoot and feel the grass. My son says I should get a ride on lawnmower, and I said that would take all of the joy out of it for me. The pleasure for me is in pushing that mower and feeling the grass under my feet and getting the movement. Yes, I am sweaty and I am taking breaks in between because it's quite humid out. That's how Connecticut is, but I do enjoy the chore. And I have older kids, so they help out with it sometimes, and the pressure's not always on me to do it. Plus, my husband would be totally willing. He just knows I enjoy it. But anyhow, if you haven't been here yet, I'm so glad to have you with me today. If you listen regularly, as you know, it's my pleasure to spend this time with you. I'm so grateful you're taking time out for yourself. And I'm super happy that you want to be with me. So, last episode, I was talking about connection with your children, connection with people in general, but I geared it towards a parent to child or adult to child. I want to continue with it because I realize that sometimes I talk and there's a lot of nonsense. It doesn't actually feel like nonsense to me, but it's things that don't have to be said. It's stuff that's slightly relevant to the topic, but could be questionable. How is this relevant? Do we have to include this? And instead of editing all that out or not allowing myself permission to just speak freely, I give myself the permission to speak freely. And I actually give you a window in to who I am in this present moment. Maybe in a few years, I won't actually say all that extra stuff, but I'm allowing Corrine to be Corrine today for who she is, for why she is. And I think that's why it means a lot that you show up and you're here too, because that speaks acceptance to me. That actually says that, you're okay with me being the way I am. So often we want people to be different, and maybe they will change over time. But I guess the question of the moment is, can we allow people to be who they are today, recognizing we're all on a journey? Who we used to be is not who we are, and who we are today is not who we will always be. So, diving deeper into this topic of creating connection with our kids, it's so important to someone like me because I am here to heal myself. Yes, because I love myself, because I see the impact and the value in stopping what's been going on through the generations, stopping it with me. But it's not just about me, it's about the generations to come, my children, their children, the ripple effect for my nieces and nephews, all the people that interact with me, and the impact of each one of our lives to the next, the person that we interact with. Our life is impacting them. What we do, how we show up, the way we think, all of this is impacting culture. So I put a lot of importance on that. And I I definitely have a high value for relationships. And so the relationships with my children is really important to me. And I shared about how, they like me to still snuggle and be next to them at nighttime when they're going to sleep. It's a wonderful time for them to talk about their day. Now, some of my kids talk more about their day and the things that they encounter throughout the day. They process their feelings along the way. Others of them don't. But when it comes time to bedtime and I lay next to them, then everything starts to spill out. It actually is when they're able to debrief the day so that they can relax and fall asleep. So it's super important that we all have that we have a safe space to process with. And how wonderful if it can be for children, their parents. I think it's great to have other beautiful relationships for our children. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think my two older kids, like I told you, are at sleepaway camp. They don't have cell phones and they're allowed to call us during a certain like dinner time if they ask to call their parent. I think it's fine and wonderful if my two older kids don't need to call me. They feel like they don't need to. They're happy, they're fine. It just this isn't about like our kids so desperately needing us and being so attached to us in a way that they can't survive when they're without us for a few hours. So hear my heart in this. There's actually a healthy attachment that also is able to the parent leaves the child is okay and able to enjoy that other person they're with, the setting they're in. And then when they reunite with the parent, they're also excited again to be with their parent. That's also good, healthy, and fine. Sometimes we as parents have this need within us for our child to need us. We actually want them to say, I need to call my parent every day. Of course, it feels nice to be wanted, to be needed, but remember, that's not the role that our children are supposed to have. We actually are supposed to be able to be independent of them and find our worth, our value outside of being their parent, outside of the relationship with them. Same for the partner we have. It's great for a partner to enjoy being with us, for them to talk about how much they love doing life with us. That type of comment when people say, I don't know how I'll survive without you. Okay, I understand the heart of it, right? But really, truly, we want them to be able to survive. Our partners, we want them to be able to thrive without us. There is this interesting mix. And I don't know if some of you are catching from what I'm saying. Others of you might be sitting back being like, not really sure. I get it all. Some of what I'm alluding to here happens through the healing journey, through the inner work we do. Um, this is some of the stuff I help people with. Anyways, see, that's what I talked about when I said the nonsense. It's not nonsense, but it's not fully relevant to the topic at hand, except it's related. It's connected. And to me, that's the type of thing that's important. I love listening to people who get a little bit off topic, but the topic all kind of makes is relatable. So, here I am, letting myself be me, loving myself, and also recognizing who I am isn't for everybody. My style of talking is not going to jive with everybody. That's okay. Anyways, how to create connection with our kids. I don't know that I talked about us needing to become a safe place for them, us needing to be a place where they can have the full range of emotions, ones that feel comfortable and uncomfortable, ones that society labels as okay, and then the ones that people aren't very tolerant of. Our children need to be able to express and have their emotions, their feelings, their ups and downs near us, with us, without being shamed for it, without us needing to put an end to it immediately. That is one of the certain keys to creating good connection, safe relationship. Um, so I never need that. That's always got to be brought to the forefront. But, I was also thinking there's so much else I didn't say because I just live it out. So how can I bring up those things for those of you that may want connection that you don't have yet, or maybe you're listening and you're just curious what more goes into it. Through our lifestyle, we show our children what our priorities are. How much of a priority is the relationship with your child? Pause right there. You might be quick to say, Corrine, it's like super high up there. But your lifestyle, where your time goes, how you show up around your kids, the energy you have, the way you express yourself, all of that actually speaks louder than you sitting here maybe saying, they're high up there in my priority list. They're such an important part of my life. Sometimes people want to give their children really incredible experiences. That's fine. But is the incredible experience had within connection? Is it done in a way that doesn't just give us this fun memory, but actually connects our hearts more deeply? Now, you're not going to be able to make some of these things happen if they're not organically already there, and they will take time. And children will know if you're doing something for an ulterior reason. But just physical connection, physical closeness is super important, whether that's holding hands, whether that's like walking close enough that your shoulders rub, whether that's sitting next to each other, giving hugs throughout the day, and not those obligatory hugs, but like those hugs, those we're standing together for a little length of time, right? This isn't forcing your children to do any of it. I would say those are all things that organically are happening between me and all four of my children. My almost 13-year-old, she turns 13 in a couple weeks, a month. My 11 and a half year old son, my 9-year-old daughter, my 2.5-year-old daughter. This is very normal for all of them. Numerous hugs each day, sitting next to me or wanting to sit on my lap. Some of you might even say that's inappropriate. I don't care. I know it's not. I know that can be inappropriate. There can be times when it's actually being done and it should stop. I know that's not the case for me with my kids. So I've got no issues with it. Them wanting to sit next to me or me choosing to sit next to them. Of course, if they minded, then no, don't. That's what I'm saying. Some of this it's either happening organically or you have to cultivate a relationship where this becomes something natural. And I am a firm believer that we can always cultivate something if we want it badly enough. And it's not going to be for our own gain. I don't do these things because I want to. Sometimes I'll say to my 2.5-year-old, can I have a hug? Can mommy give you a hug? Can mommy give you a kiss? And she'll say no. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because, oh, I so desperately need this right now. Oh, this would feel so nice. Oh, I just love my little girl and I want to hold her. That's not the time and place then if she's not up for it. I want other adults and other people to respect if I need some space. And I don't think children are any different. I think they should be respected in that same way. I also know what it is to be a young child who people do not respect boundaries, tickle you when you don't want to be, hug you and kiss you when you don't want to. Um, I experienced so much of that that I am choosing to make sure that cycle breaks. No, it's not right. And so often I see whether it's grandparents, aunts, adults in general, parents, people in general who need a child, a family member to give them a hug or a kiss because it makes them feel better. It makes them feel like there's a connection there when there still might not be. It makes them feel like there is an affection there when there might not be. So we need to put an end to that. And um, the safety, the closeness, the connection, the sharing happens when our children do know they're valued, when we do create times to, yeah, make memories with them, have fun, but connect heart to heart. The generation I grew up in, and I know for sure it was even more severe in the generations before. And I know it's going on in many places today where the patterns are just continuing, but there wasn't a lot of physical affection. I mean, hardly any between me and my parents. There wasn't a lot of I love yous between my parents when I was growing up. Um, my parents didn't talk to me about sex or really about anything. Like there just wasn't conversations about, I mean, as a teenager, yes, I can think about some of the heart-to-heart conversations around certain things with my father, um, more or less me sharing and looking for conversation. Um, but not in the way that my children and I have cultivated relationship. Sometimes I stand back and reflect and witness myself, and I realize I'm so grateful, so, so grateful that my kids get to experience life the way they did. And I feel for my inner child because she didn't have that. As you know very well, if you listen often, this is not me shaming my parents, um, or, looking down on them or being disrespectful. It's not that at all. But it is an acknowledgement of the way it was, the way I wish it had been, the way that I think would have been better. And holding space for the contradiction of emotions, for the fact that I'm grateful that my children have this, and I'm sad that I didn't. The sadness doesn't overtake me, it doesn't overwhelm me. Within moments, it has. At times along the journey, it has, and rightfully so. But I've reparented my inner child a lot, and I will always. I show up for that little girl I used to be. When I interact with my children, I think about the little girl I used to be, and I include her. Now, I'm a super visual person, so in my mind's eye, it's very easy for me to see her. It's very easy for me to visualize as if she's with us because our spirits, our bodies, and our spirits, right? We have the body we had when we were a little kid. It lives on. We are the same spirit that we always will be. So the echo of the past is here in the present. And it is so healing to include our inner child, to reparent our inner child. And if you're not familiar with what that means, I have independent courses. I have workbooks I've designed to touch on these topics, to help you go in depth with these topics. You can find all of those resources at my website, changeradically.com. Everything is priced in a way where it's an easy yes. Workbooks are around 20 bucks. Independent courses are less than 100. It's a one-time fee. You get the materials for life. There's video lessons along with written materials, journaling prompts. It's all, I've designed all of this. It's all from my voice, from my perspective, with my tone. Or you can go back on in the past episodes. I've been doing the podcast almost 5 years. There's a lot of content around reparenting, self-parenting, the inner child, and some of my story. So if you're curious and you want to delve into any of these topics, you can. But I want to bring this to a close soon. And as much as I'm not sure I've said that much, I think you're able to hear from what I am saying that there's some practical things. Some of it needs to be evaluation within ourselves, observation and witnessing of ourselves as we go through life, as we interact with our children, as we notice where our time is going, what comes out of our mouth versus how are we living out our life. And then this intention of being present. I believe you cannot do these things that I am saying. You cannot create what I am talking about without doing your own inner work. You have to look within, focus on yourself and your needs, start healing, and start taking care of yourself in order to show up in these ways for your children or your other relationships, your partner, friendships, you name it. This is all, you could take anything I'm saying and translate it into other relationships. Because if you want to create connection and safety and closeness, heart to heart, depth in your other relationships, this is all the same stuff we got to do. And we don't got to do it. I love doing it. It lights me up. It's super compelling to me. I was saying to my husband the other day, he said, I don't think, he's an arborist. He is a tree doctor. He climbs trees, he cuts down trees, he prunes trees, he diagnoses trees to try to help them, to take care of them. He does it all. He has his own company. He works for other companies as well because sometimes they need an arborist. And he's had no trouble getting business all along the way without advertising, without paying to advertise. He gets business through word of mouth, etc. And I reflected to him how I'm happy that he gets business so easily. And sometimes it's frustrating to me because I feel like I try and it's hard for me to always find new clients and the people I want to work with. And he's like, it's so easy for people to see what needs to happen with their trees. Plus, we live in Connecticut. There's a lot of trees. People put money into their trees. Um, you know, there's a lot of beauty in the trees here. And he said, the work you do, Kareen, people don't always see what they need. And of course, I know the strategy online, which business coaches have said is, showing people what they need, showing them how you can help, showing them the problems they have that you can help them solve. Okay, first, that idea is exhausting to me. Anyways, like I'm just not the marketing type of person. I am the person who chooses to buy a course, a program, or coaching with someone because I want to be in their energy space. So, I'm looking to just attract people who are like, I like Kareen's energy. I want to hang with her. I want to work with her. I want her to help me. That's what my goal is, right? That's just what I desire and I believe is possible because I'm a person who knows I buy for that reason. So I know there's other people who buy for that reason. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with this, but I was saying that to Evan, and he reflected that, sometimes people they don't see the reason they need you. So I don't know where I was going with that, but um, let me wrap it up by just encouraging you to sit back and start to notice yourself more. Notice how you show up with your kids, with other relationships, how you interact, what your lifestyle says. Where is your time going versus what you say? But notice what you say. You could even notice the thoughts you have, right? I mean, all of these things in some form or another do help to give us information. And it's not about, I used to think it was about figuring it all out. It's not about figuring it all out, but information is super helpful. And it's great to start to question and get curious. You learn a lot through that. We learn a real lot. That's what children are supposed to do. That's what they naturally do. And they learn a lot by asking questions, by being curious, by wondering. So let's do the same for ourselves. Thank you for spending your time with me and listening to my rambling. I don't, I like you know, I accept the ramblings, but they do sometimes still sound like ramblings to me. Um, and until we connect again, the one thing I hope you always know is that there is such a significance to your life, to who you are. Doesn't matter what you do, what you've done, what you will do. You are significant simply because you are you. I see your significance. I recognize it. I'm so glad you're alive. Much love, my friends.